Cronbot? Okay, calm down, Cronbot. We'll figure out a way to get you back home. In the opposite way? If you die in the game, you die for real, bro. Okay, then bot. Alright, that's how I'll do it. Just so you leave me the heck alone. Detective Kids in Conbot Murder in the Hotel Lisbon, otherwise known as Kids and Bot, is an interesting game with obvious throwbacks to the 80s and early 90s era of point-and-click games. A time where those kinds of games ruled computer gaming. An era of weighty dialogue, of thinking outside of the box, of clever puzzles. But can a game produced on the 2010s really capture that magic? Games have evolved a lot since the time of LucasArts or Sierra, back when they produced that kind of game. It isn't exactly fair for me to judge the game when compared to something that came out 20 years earlier. At the same time, however, seeing as it's a throwback, I can't exactly compare it to something like Life is Strange, which was published by Square Enix. I was so just a game on its own merits. So how does the story present itself? Well, the tone is silly and comedic, never for a moment taking itself too seriously. My first time playing through the game, I played it in Portuguese, and it's clear that it was the way the game was play tested and developed. As some of the jokes fail to get the impact that they get in Portuguese when played in English. There are also a few other problems I will mention with the translation later, but for now let's focus on the story. A murder has been committed in the Hotel Lisbon, the name to indicate the setting of the game. Lisbon, the capital of Portugal. Sometime in the 80s, or rather, we're with the fact that it's a murder because the man has had 14 stab wounds in the back. I don't know how he was calmly drinking his coffee. Everyone seems to think it's a suicide. Somehow. You are called in to investigate. You are Case, Detective Case. Get the pun? A rather patriotic man who is somewhat of a butt. By which I mean he's not very clever. One of the first things you hear him comment on is about the apparent woman he slept with last night. The only reason he even seems to get a job is because he is friends with the local police team, which is just as incompetent as he is. Just as you're about to leave the street for the first time, you meet your second. Quanbot, the guy who's been bothering me all this time. He's a robot, or is he? That wanted to be a clown, but he's afraid of children, so he couldn't exactly be one. He seems to find him annoying, but the audience finds his jokes pretty funny. Well, yeah, audience. I don't mean you as the player, I mean a virtual audience. I wonder if the whole game is a stage play when there's a particular tense scene, a virtual retort, or a funny joke, we see the silhouettes of the audience and the crowd go, oh, snap, or laugh. Anyway, the two of you team up from that point on. Clownbot acts as your inventory, your joke dispenser. The most of them are somewhat offensive, typical Portuguese humor. And the fourth wall breaker. Clownbot is very aware that he's in the game. From there on out, you two are tasked with solving the main mystery of who killed the man. It shouldn't take you from very long, 3-4 hours, and even then you'll retrace your steps several times. But it's good fun while it lasts. Along the way, you'll meet a colorful set of characters, though most of them bang on stereotypes, or you have one or two particular things that stand out about their personality. It doesn't go much beyond that. The heart is the heart that will make you a discount. You can find her numbers from on walls. The Spanish restaurant owner is proud of his fish. I don't get that. Do Spanish people like fish? And talks about not much else. The crime fine. Well, we'll chat about that as a surprise. But needless to say, it's the 80s. He had to be there. That may make the characters look one-dimensional. I think that they are fun and entertaining to talk to. You have to gather clues and interview some of them along the way. The interview is the main mechanic of the game. Other than point and click, it's the reason you're picking up all these items, excluding VHS tapes. Character movements and something that will you know which one to use to interview them. Since you can use both skates and combat, for example, if one character is afraid of robots quoting his crucifix, maybe you should use skates, not the bot. Generators one very obvious, notice one and two similar. There are more ways to one you should use. You have to pay attention to the automatic question and use the right answer. That's the way to advance the story. That can be a problem, however, as the translation isn't the best, if I'm being totally honest. Not as bad as some of the early RPGs back in the 80s, but it's notable so. Several errors, run-on sentences, and so forth. It's annoying, but nothing that breaks the game. There aren't too many environments, just 3 or 4 streets and the buildings in it. You retrace your steps a lot of times, entering the arcade, the hotel, the restaurant, the bar, the park, and that's pretty much it. I think the outside of the movies look amazing. For example, the police station has bullet holes in it. The park has the bridge over the river, the only one at a time visible. Yes, it looks like the Golden Great Bridge. We know a Portuguese man or woman can recognize the details and see it as Lisbon and say it's Portugal. To someone who has never been there, it looks distinct. An European city, yes. The models of the characters when on an interview mode feature big bulky pixels. I believe it's to further the throwback, like way back to the ZX Spectrum. In fact, some way back in the day featured more detailed characters. But I greatly enjoy the cartoony animation of the characters. As for the music, there are some tracks here and there that I find myself listening to while working, including the track Simple Trying to Office and Arcade. The highlight of the soundtrack is the fully voiced Fader song. I don't know whether I can play it for you here and not worry about copyright, but trust me, while the jazzy music is alright, the very Portuguese fully song took me in by surprise, and done by a professional fucking singer, so it's always nice. I will warn, however, that this game is offensive to pretty much every minority out there. It's not that Kiss and Bot were bad characters, or that the creators are homophobic, racist, sexist, and so have you. It's just some of the humor of the game. But while I wasn't alive personally back in the 80s, this was the style of humor that was common back then. Kitchenbot is available for Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, Android. So the version reviewed here was the Windows one.